Hi everyone, thanks for joining me. I'm going to have you freehand for a minute, then I'm going to put you on the stand. I want to talk about the media, this clay media that you guys can see with all the stripes and markings through it. It is a synthetic style of media, and believe it or not, just in that drawing or painting, as we tilt this, we can see the outline, see how the long eye is done, and as you tilt it, that's how the little silhouettes and portraits will reveal themselves with all the color. And I just wanted to point out at first, I know I show a lot of stuff, but this is not, these aren't your normal rocks, as you guys can see. This is a large chunk of it, and you can see how these are burnt. And so we're going to go over a few of the images that are on all of these. There's a lot to go through, and it's a little bit of a controversial thing, right? Not a lot of people think about it, but these humans, starting from the smallest little portrait there that you can see at the bottom, and then moving upward, you can see how there's a carving for an eye here and a nose. So it's face on top of face. And as we always talk about, look up indigenous art. It's always been like totem poles, right? So I have many examples here that are just, obscure or ancient styles of faces. And as we tilt these and move them around, you can see how these little portraits at the very end, see how the painting for the circle, the little line for the lips, and you can see above that, there's a dot. So that dot, that of course, we're looking at right here, that big black spot is the eye for the ancient character. And as we move him, you can see how he has painting on his nose. All right, so at first we were looking at maybe a different silhouette, and now we can see the more lifelike silhouette. This is an ancient totem, prehistoric. Whoever lived with mammoths, those are the people who made this stuff. You can see all the color and the paint on here. So just understand that these are not, your regular rocks. These are sand clay paintings. Many of us know about, Navajo sand paintings, or it's very similar to this. And so I have several examples of these archaic faces to show you, and thank you for joining me for it. Let's go ahead and just go by one by one. Show you some of these really beautiful colors on here, some very interpretive stuff. Now, without even knowing about the art, you can already see the red, the black, the white, but this beautiful painting that we're looking at here, it actually reflects, and depending on how good your pareidolia skills are, you will be able to make an image out of that. You might see an eye here, an eye here. We can flip it over and turn it around, but you can also see the red and the black on the side there. Well, I think maybe we have a left side portrait or silhouette using this black spot as the eye. You can see how the mouth is done perhaps there. I'll move it around so you can see different. And then making it small as well also helps. We might have a right side. Isn't that neat? I mean, this is what they did. It's this is a man with a bird mask, so we can see the mouth, how he has this stripe coming down and this big black and darker spot over the eye. If you guys look on my avatar there, the Birdman of Cahokia, he's made in copper, but these are made in sand, and they're found in North Carolina. And there's little silhouettes here on the left-hand side as well. This person has both of their eyes. And you'll notice that on every single edge and every single side, we'll have that as well. So this is a very beautiful one. We've shown it a few times on a few shorts, but again, just demonstrating that white and red and black paint that's painted on this clay, which is, very malleable. I could mark this up with my hands. You can see it's extremely light, which makes it very easy for me. And the humans and silhouettes here, they're painted in lightly. You can see the white color, just the little marking there for the eye. So this whole flat section that you see is representing the face. And then there's other ones as well. There are some really great ones on here, and I kind of forget exactly where the greatest one was, but the reason why all these ridges are here are because of the mammoths. So we have this large painted mammoth on the left-hand side with his painted tuft. He's all kind of decorated. This, you might be able to see the eye for the mammoth, but then there's several other mammoths as well facing to the right-hand side. I can try to get the shadows in there, and it is a higher level section. So that's what's great about this art, is not all of it is visible to us, right? So now that we've gotten rid of the people who think this is just wild, you guys who are really into this can see some of these beautiful painted bird heads. That's what the whole outside image, I think, represents. You can see how the beak is done and the eye. And this stuff is very familiar to me because I see it all the time in the stone art. And there's a lot more to see, guys. You can see how these 3D portraits are going to come out, but it's getting a little harder to see my camera. You see how in every angle, the little tiny silhouette down there with the little drawings around her eye, and the rest of this being the hair, you see the texture, right? Isn't that neat, right? And it's also a reflective type of pottery. So the red and the black paints. So these guys, they come together in the same set. They're a little bit more worn, and they have a little bit of a nasty slime on them. But that sometimes even helps to see some of the carvings and the markings. You can see how this eye for the large face, and we're looking at the red striped hair. So it is really just like a cartoon. Okay. And we'll check out this other one here. So we have some more. So the carving here we can see on the right-hand side, different eyes. You'll see different eyes poke out. Some of them will be carvings, some of them will be extrusions or protrusions. Try to show you some of the color on this, and this is also representing a bird head with lots of different, I love the red and the black paint on the end there. And we'll go ahead and pause. I'm going to get a couple in a line or in a row for you, but these birds, see the bird with the tiny beak and the little bird eye? It's the heart-shaped bird, and then you can see how when we tilt it just that right way, how the beak sticks out and how it really does just look like a bird. I'll put them on the fence, right? So if you think about 20,000 years ago, 15,000 years ago, they didn't have the entertainment, right? So they made their entertainment. This little bird, he's just, dun, 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 dun. It's a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. And it's a beautiful style of art too, because sure, it does make you use your imagination a little bit. But the thing about it is there's not much to imagine when you're looking at something like this. It's just you have to know to look for it. And when you know to look for it, you understand that it was intentional, and that every little marking and ripple and all this little texture, the way the tail sticks out, all that stuff is completely intentional. Someone sat here and created this for the longest time, right? I think it's fascinating, fascinating. And the tool mark evidence, if you guys have seen, it's pretty apparent. And at this point, I think maybe I could just let you guys interpret some of this stuff as you see it, because you guys kind of know what's coming. Right? Let me zoom in a little bit for us. All right. Well, they're characters, right? Isn't that neat? And it's so fun because it's super light. Someone's really trying to get someone's attention. So this hook nose, believe it or not, this color and texture on here, I'll show you how when we twist this, there's a lot on this. And to be honest, interpreting this art does take a lot of energy. So I'm kind of exhausted right at this moment after 10 minutes. But I think what we have, the right and left wing, we can make a bird fly here somehow. This is how it is, I think. So we have the left wing poking up. See that little stick sticking up there? And we can make it look like the whole bird, just like this. So all these are like puzzles. You know, it takes a minute to be able to see them, and this one might not be coming out right. And really, my screen is so dark, I can't see anything anymore, guys. So let me pause this. I'll put it in the freezer, and if it doesn't cut off, we'll come back. All right, that was a good little break, because I thought of something to say. And what I want you guys to know is that whenever I'm looking at this art, right, it is exercising my mind, because my mind's going like 5,000 miles an hour trying to figure out, how is it a bird, how is it a human, which direction is it pointing in. And so at first, when I first started doing this, it was extremely exhausting, very tiring. And at some point in time, I kind of just got used to it, I guess. And it's just interesting the way that all kind of worked out. So my screen is brightening up because I've had this thing in the freezer. But just looking kind of briefly on this, you can see all these little carvings, all these little eyes, especially you guys who know about the art, right? And we might be able to see a mammoth here at the top, or some other neat stuff. There's definitely some complicated stuff on here. And I could try to point some of it out, but it gets a little high level. Of course, we have probably our bird head, you know, just pointing this way. You can see the bird's eye, the beautiful eye there. I do have my pen somewhere. But this is a really colorful one. It's the reason why I kind of took it out here. Here are some of those tool marks that I mentioned. You can see these little hooks put in here. This stuff you can just carve with your hand. And if you look closely, you know, at the paint. So we're just looking at the painting eye. You can see this beautiful painting with the little curl coming up, and then has this beak, this orange beak here, and then this little curly crest. So it's just a huge bird with a really cute curly crest. Isn't that pretty? And then even on the left-hand side, so just looking at this silhouette, you can see how this beautiful eye, the nose, and then the mouth of the beautiful woman with the cheek that is all painted is pointing to the left. Put her in the light there so you can see her. She's just painted in. And of course, you guys are seeing this beautiful yellow eye, you know. It's just a carving / painting. It's a cave painting on a rock. It's not that hard to believe. It's not that hard to believe, but for some people it is. It's really, everyone else knows about it except for if you're trying to build a house, or like, I don't know. This stuff is kind of unique, and I think that Smithfield should be taking care of this. This is a cool one. It's got even little tiny stuff on the end there. We have a very beautiful, see the shelf eye that we always talk about? So we can see how the nose is poking out, and then you only get that little ripple or indentation. There's some symbols and things, but right here, let's do this. Just to help a little bit. You can see how they have a mohawk, perhaps, a headdress. So it's just a purple rock. It's just a purple rock, right? Here's another beautiful one, interpret it as you might. The one that I can see right off the bat is the eye, the black eye right here, the nose, and then this cut for the mouth. And he has a little bit of paint on his face, and then as we tilt him, and we'll see a few different other ones, but he's just like a little cartoon character there. And we can move him around, and we'll have a different one upside down. Oh, the screen's turning dark again. Now that you kind of know what you're looking for, you know, little small ones with a lot of times stripes over their eyes. Let's look at a few more. Comes out a little better after you take a better look at them, right? Takes a minute for everybody, so no reason to rush it. This is a good one. This is 2 pieces. And let's go ahead and set you down and take a peek at this. Of course, we can see the color of the paint for the eye, the nose, and the mouth, and you can see how these stripes are coming down. So you got a little better color. Here we go. There we go. Now we can see different eyes, right? It's an ancient American. And then to the left as well, you can see this painting here inside there, a little dust, the orange, the lips right here. It's important for me to show you guys this. Very specifically on this one, something I wanted to point out was the way that they built them, right, to all separate. So we can see the crack in this. I want you guys to get a good look. So we have this crack all the way down here, and you can see how if we just separate that one crack from where that is, you can see how there's a silhouette just put into there. We have this spot for the eye, which actually has a piece of gemstone. All these are little chunks of crystal. It definitely looks like gold. That's gold right there, y'all, inside of that. Those are gold lashes. Sorry if I wasn't showing it. Let's see where we're at here, right here. There we are, okay. You guys can see. I'm gonna zoom in so you guys can see. Literal gold, I'm not joking. It's literal gold. Do you see the gold flashing? How it flashes and like gold, like no other part of the stone does. And when you try to make a face with that golden eye, you will succeed because there's several. Let's go ahead and take you up. As you know, the shadows and different lights, and it all plays a big role in this. This is a high level art, but these are hominid, human. These are humans. They're not hominid whatsoever. They're humans right here with the mouth, the nose, and of course the eye, you can see. Right? And then on the other side of it, you can see this representation of a mammoth. It's a beautiful mammoth facing toward us, like it's marching this way. The human is pointing this way, looking down this direction, looking at that eye right here. Okay. And then pointing at us, we see this beautiful mammoth. Mamotho man. So we have, and you know what I'm going to say. Every single edge and every single side has more and more on them. So just as simple as this little goofy face. It's just as simple as this with the eye. There's smaller portraits with the eye, the nose, and the mouth here at the bottom. We have this big, huge cutout for an eye right here, so we can tilt that. We also have this eye here. So we have the eye, the nose, for another larger face. It's just a plaquette style artifact from North America. And, when we flip it upside down, we have maybe a more archaic, we're thinking old, right? You got to think about this. What do these guys look like? What did they make their totems look like? They put their mouths, their noses, and their eyes under shelves, and under those shelves you can see the details for the eye. You see the little circle, the little round section. It's not just by happenstance. So if you actually investigate this and you're looking at these stones for faces on them, and you see a mouth, a nose, and you look for the eye, where the eye is, and you find the details for that eye every single time, that's the only way that you'll ever believe this, because I do not expect you to take my word for it. Not at all. I do not expect that. You have to just, if you really want to know about it, if the archaeologists really want to know about it, if you citizens that are into this really want to know about it, you actually just have to go out and look. And you'll find it, just like everyone else has. Just like everybody else has. These statues of human beings are just being stepped on and crushed and destroyed right now. And these are really defined. These are really easy to see, I think, for everybody. I mean, you can see them in the background. You can see them as the shadows get longer. You'll be able to see more and more. If you think about what you might find in Egypt with this particular piece. What might be, on the wall in Egypt. Why is Horus represented here? Why is Horus in North Carolina? It's just, that's a whole nother book, and it's a whole nother chapter that they don't want to write. They don't even want to talk about how Clovis wasn't first anymore. They never did. They never updated anybody. American archaeology is the laughing stock of the world. And you guys who are worried about Turkey and Göbekli Tepe and stuff, you guys got to just worry about what's going on in your own backyard. Because we have real history here. Real history that people with a passion for this should be researching. And the people who are collecting the paychecks right now, they're just showing you arrowheads, right? And they're just showing you the weapons. They're not showing you the culture. This is the culture, right? This is the culture. Yep, that's the culture too. So, thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate y'all. You can stop on this one here. I just want to kind of demonstrate how light this stuff is. It is just a pottery. But these little cave paintings here, they're quite beautiful. So, thanks for watching. Appreciate you. Talk to you later.